Interestingly enough, excuse me, the three of us were together day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, we went to a political fundraiser for Zach Walls. And of course, I want to always take kids to see these things because when how many black people were there? I want you to know. 2, 4, 5. Anyway, we were there. And so at the end of it, Betty was driving. Yashawn's car was in my driveway. And so at the end, we came back to my house and we were sitting in the car. And I want you to know we talked for another hour about stuff like what you're asking us to.
We call those debriefs in the academy.
Yeah, we did all the...
So it's what you're asking is not unfamiliar.
No.
Yeah, one of the things too, growing up in Iowa, I'm a native of Iowa as well. And my parents were Southerners. They migrated here. And one of the things that they were really clear about is that the Black church was the foundation for the earlier Black community in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And there was a sense of, again, community, where you had barbershops, beauty shops, you had all restaurants, all sorts of different businesses inside of the Black community. Fast forward to 2026, and after going through the 60s, the Vietnam War, Black Power, Power to the People, and all of the changes, and African Americans watching the progression of us move from one movement to the other to hold America accountable for what it had promised, its ideal that all men are created equal in the eyes of God. And one of the things that you learn along the way is how to, especially growing up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, you do learn how to navigate in a white space, because actually Iowa is one of those places that African Americans do come very close proximity, closer than most. Like, Atlanta would be a good place to start. Dallas is another. Houston is another. But when you're here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, it's like, how do I get along with those who may have something against me? So what you learn how to do is that recognize where your boundary line is. Make sure that you stay rooted in who you are, and you can say specifically, I'm in disagreement with that, so I'm going to encourage you to read this material, and then maybe we can have a conversation and maybe we can't. Where we currently are in this society right now, you have even those outside of Black culture who haven't even received the education they were required to receive. So they too got left out in the cold. And to come to 2026 and now discover that the reverse has happened to them, and for Black people to say, we're real familiar with what's going on. And it's really not until Amanda Good and the Predit gentleman gets killed that there's an acknowledge for the greater society of America is like, oh my God, nobody's exempt here. Because now it comes to, money and economics.
Let me interrupt you for just 1 second. No, I want you to talk because I remember, and I've said this many times since it happened, which was last year, Critical Conversations. We were talking about politics, and one woman said, I am afraid. And I said, well, why are you afraid? And she said, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And it's a Black lady. And a white guy sitting here, he said, I'm not afraid. And I said, well, why not? And he said, because I'm a straight white man. And I said, oh, well, I don't know if that's going to save you this time. And then fast forward to whenever it was in Minneapolis, 2 white people, 1 straight, were killed. And I've thought I think all the time about that man and whether or not he feels safe like he was so pompous to say at Critical Conversations last year. And the other thing I wanted to say to you, Betty, is would you share with us the why of no? Let me start.